you all know, the Mississippi Delta Scouts Roundtable, which consists of ECHO and 10 partner organizations, did a lot of work around the guidelines for the P16 councils, especially the formation of, in partnership, back and forth with MDE, around what those guidelines should look like. Well, locally inside of our community, what we've been doing besides P16 council, we had 2 schools that were identified. Inside, we do have successful school districts, but inside of our school district, we had 2 schools that were identified that had to set up P16 council. One was Toomey Elementary, and the other one was Roseboro High School, which is our one and only high school inside of our county. Well, with that, we've set up a P16 council, actually gone through the process of the initial meeting, trainings with parents, teachers, and principals around the P16 councils, and we have actually got together our P16 council for the local high school. And it was a really great process, considering that for the first time inside of a room, we actually had parents, teachers, administrators, students, and all these different people coming together with a common agenda and having a process to actually work. And for young folks and parents and everybody to break out into all these different setup groups to say, what do we want to see happen inside of our school over the next year? How can we make these things happen? And to actually have a principal to say that even if our test scores come back, which we're hoping when they come back in September, that there is no basic need for the P16 council, because we'll have a successful school, which we're hoping to have, to still say, even if we have this, we still want to continue the work of the P16 council. We've already set this council up. It is a great process and a great thing to be doing. So we want to move that process forward, whether or not the state requires it or not. So being able inside of our communities to work their process and getting parents and students to understand what the P16 council is, how it was formed, going through PowerPoints and all these different things, so it's in layman terms as to why certain things happen, and even with the categories, just being able to give that information out in a way that parents could receive it and understand that this was a council that wasn't meant to oversee all of the stuff that the school is doing, but this is a council that is going to work into conjunction with it. And for parents to look around the room and say, okay, so who's here from the PTO? Who's here that's a teacher? Okay, you're a teacher, but you have kids in elementary school, right? So you can be a teacher or a parent. So getting folks to look at all of the different stakeholders and place themselves into categories that were beneficial to everybody, and not so it being so weighted down. And for parents to even look at it, and for community folks to look at it and say, we think we should have more students on here. You know, so what are some of the categories that we can have students? And we have a council of 16 people, and out of that 16, I think 7 of them are students inside of the high school. So we have a really great number of representation of the students that are inside of it. We do, like I said, we have the faculty, we have staff, and the principal has even opened up the process to meetings inside of the high school libraries. And we know one of the guidelines was the first initial meeting for the P16 council when it came to voting and things of that sort couldn't go on at the school, so we did it at the rec center, and the school personnel and everybody still showed up for it. And he's still opening back up to say, okay, whenever you all need the high school library, you all need meeting space, we'll be here to provide those different things and their technical assistance. And for myself and others inside of our organization too, to look at how can we step back and make sure we had the maximum amount of participation from community folks. So myself and others didn't even get on the P16 council. We were like, we would just be here as support for the P16 council, as trainers for the P16 council, because we didn't want to overshadow that whole process of our mindset and our way of thinking. We really wanted to be community driven, and so that it was a community process that encompassed everybody. So this worked so far with P16 council.
Great.